Hi, welcome back and thanks for joining us here today. I'm Jamie and I am a blues disciple. Now please join me for a little while to hear some excellent blues music from some of the masters of the blues. Blues Disciples is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and please note that your listening experience will be much better if you listen through earphones or earbuds. First up today we have a unique Delta blues man, Mr. James Son Thomas, who was born in Mississippi in 1926 and passed away in 1993 at the age of 66. Internationally known Mr. Thomas is still little known in the U.S. outside of the dedicated blues community. In addition to his unique Delta blues performance style, Mr. Son Thomas was an accomplished folk art sculptor. His folk art works now sell at auction for thousands of dollars. Here is Leland, Mississippi's Mr. Son Thomas with his 1968 recording of Mr. Arthur Big Boy Crudup's song, Rock Me Mama.
Rock me, mama. Rock me all night long. Rock me, mama. Rock me all night long. I want you to rock me. I don't care how it make me feel. Roll me, baby, like you. Roll a wagon wheel. I want you to rock me, little girl. I don't care how it make me feel. Baby got drowning in a deep blue sea. Baby got drowning in a deep blue sea. Well, she got drowned there, swimming after me.
Folks, a few weeks back we were down in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and I met a blues artist who goes by the stage name 19th Street Red while he was busking outside Cathead's Blues store. Red moved to Clarksdale from New Orleans a few years back and now operates a recording studio there. Red has a unique voice and playing style, and I hope you enjoy 19th Street Red with his You're Someone Else's Problem Now.
Sitting here drinking, ain't got time to be faking. Moan in the blue, Lord knows I've paid my due. Yeah, my lovely baby, you're someone else's problem now. Down through the hill, we weathered pain and tears. someone else's problem now. Take my time, dream away my day. I was crying every night. Nothing seemed to be right. You're my lovely baby. Someone else's problem now. Baby, you're someone else's problem now. Yeah, my lovely baby, you're someone else's problem now.
Our next artist was truly a one-of-a-kind blues man. Mr. James T. Model Ford was born in Mississippi in 1923 and was actively performing and touring up until shortly before he passed away in 2013 at the age of 90. Mr. Ford began his blues music career in his early 70s when his fifth wife gave him a guitar as a leaving present just as she walked out the door for the last time. Mr. Ford then taught himself how to play guitar, which changed his life for the better. Back in 2009, I was traveling around Mississippi and was very fortunate to be able to spend some time with Mr. T. Model Ford and his 13-year-old grandson and drummer, who went by the name of Stud. We attended the commemoration of his good friend, the late Mr. James Son Thomas's blues trail marker outside the Highway 61 Blues Museum in Leland, Mississippi, and shared some fried chicken while I heard some really funny stories about T-Model and his friend Son Thomas back in the day. Here now is Mr. James T. Model Ford with his vocals and guitar, accompanied by his grandson Stud on drums, with this 2008 recording of his Hip-Shakin' Woman.
out here taking water. Don't know what it came so far. I can't find it. I'm going down to get me a motor. I'm going down to Atlanta. Get me a motor. If I tell you, babe, I can't tell you. Wake up, everybody. Don't nobody go to sleep.
And now we have a blues man who didn't make it to the very top of the blues world, but created a hell of a party wherever he and his band performed. Mr. Theodore Roosevelt Taylor was born in Mississippi in 1915 and passed away at the age of 60 in 1975 of lung cancer. Mr. Taylor started his musical pursuits early in his life and headed to Chicago when he was 27 in 1942. For the next 15 years, Mr. Taylor worked traditional day jobs, and he played and performed his blues in his off hours. Then Mr. Taylor picked up on the playing style of rising blues legend Mr. Elmore James, and then committed himself totally to the blues in 1957 at the age of 42. Mr. Taylor's wild personality, strong taste for whiskey, and the hot pursuit of women earned him his eternal nickname, Hound Dog. Mr. Hound Dog Taylor assembled his small band, the House Rockers, featuring his vocals and lead guitar, along with Mr. Brewer Phillips on second guitar and Mr. Ted Harvey on drums. This three-man band created a big six-man band sound, with their great live performances regularly turning into all-night 6 or 7 hour shows. Here now, from a live performance in March of 1976, is Mr. Hound Dog Taylor and his House Rockers with a song Mr. Elmore James made into a blues classic. Here's Dust My Broom.
I got 3 shows tonight, honey, and we're gonna have some fun until 5 o'clock. And if the police gonna stop. 'Cause I don't care. Thank you.
Now, the next 3 songs we'll play come to us through a book written by Mr. Larry Simon and edited by Mr. John Boven. The book is accompanied by a CD album, and the title of the book and the album is New York City Blues, and it explores the blues scene in New York in the 1940s through the 1970s, along with the many excellent blues artists who were based and recorded in New York. There are many interviews in the book and 26 recordings on the CD for us to enjoy. The first song we'll feature is by champion Jack Dupree, who was born in New Orleans in 1909 and passed away in 1992. As a child, Mr. Dupree lived in the same New Orleans orphanage with future jazz great Mr. Louis Armstrong, where Jack taught himself to play piano, and as soon as he was able, he left New Orleans and hit the road playing bars and parties all over the U.S. In Detroit, Mr. Dupree met heavyweight boxing champion Mr. Joe Louis, who convinced him to pursue boxing. Then, while fighting 107 matches and winning a Golden Glove championship, along with several other amateur championships, Mr. Dupree earned his nickname Champion Jack Dupree. Fortunately, Champion Jack Dupree retired from boxing in 1940 at the age of 30 and soon moved to New York. In 1958, Mr. Dupree recorded this song about the growing drug problems in Harlem. Here is Champion Jack Dupree with his vocals and piano, accompanied by Mr. Larry Dale on guitar, Mr. Pete Brown on alto sax, Mr. Wendell Marshall on bass, and Mr. Willie Jones on drums with Mr. Dupree's Bad Blood.
got bad blood, mama. I believe you need a shot. Yeah, you got bad blood, mama. I believe you need a shot. I said, climb up on the table, baby. Let the doctor see what else you got. You got bad blood, mama. You got bumps all in your face. What kind of woman is that? Yeah, you got bad blood, baby. Ooh, you got bumps all in your face. Well, I say one shot from this needle, mama, and I'm sure gonna clear your face. Give me the needle, doctor, give me the needle. Doctor, you can call me on the phone. Yes, I am your doctor. You can call me on the phone. And anytime you need the doctor, coming on.
Our next New York recording artist is Piedmont blues legend Mr. Fulton Allen, or as he's better known, Mr. Blind Boy Fuller, who was born in 1907 in North Carolina and passed away in 1941. Mr. Allen started playing guitar as a child, but unfortunately started going blind in his mid-teens and was totally blind by his 21st birthday. Mr. Allen met and learned his Piedmont guitar picking style from his blind mentor, Reverend Gary Davis, and from recordings by Mr. Blind Blake. To promote his first recordings in New York in 1935, his manager gave him the name Blind Boy Fuller. Mr. Blind Boy Fuller wrote the next song that was derived from a song first recorded a year earlier by bluesman Mr. Tommy McLennan, entitled Bottle It Up and Go. Mr. Blind Boy Fuller's vocals and guitar are accompanied by his friend and washboard master, Mr. George Washington, who was also known as Bull City Red, and the song was recorded in 1940 for Vocalion and titled Step It Up and Go.
She was little and low, used to love me, but she don't no more. You got to step it up and go, and go. Well, Well, you can't stay in paradise, you got to step it up and go. Got a little girl, she stays upstairs, try to make a living by putting on airs. You got to step it up and go. Yeah, yeah. Well, you can't stay in paradise, you got to step it up and go. Play it for me now. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, sure. Front door shut, back one two, blind pulled down. What you wanna do? Wanna step it up and go? Yeah, and go. Well, you can't stay in paradise, you got to step it up and go. Yeah. Now I got a little gal, her name was Ball. Give a little bit and she took it all. You got to step it up and go. Oh, yeah. Well, you can't stay in paradise, you got to step it up and go. Me and my baby walking down the street, telling everybody but the chief police, you got to step it up and go. Yeah. Well, you can't stay in paradise, you got to step it up and go. Play it again now. Yeah. My woman tell her hurry home. Ain't had no liver since she been gone. Got to step it up and go. Yeah, yeah. Well, you can't stay in paradise, you got to step it up and go. Why sing this bus ain't why sing no more? Kid Miguel called me and I got to go. You got to step it up and go. Yeah, yeah. Well, you can't stay in paradise, you got to step it up and go. Yeah.
Now, the last song we'll play today from Mr. Larry Simon's book and album is the title track, New York City Blues, composed by British blues writer Mr. David Williams. This recording's featured artist is Mr. Larry Dale, who was born in Texas in 1923 and passed away in 2010. Mr. Dale was inspired by B.B. King's guitar style. Here from 1988 is Mr. Larry Dale. His vocals and guitar are accompanied by Mr. Jimmy Spruill and record producer and author Mr. Larry Simon on guitars, Mr. Bob Gaddy on piano, Mr. Brian Yost on bass, and Mr. A.J. Johnson on drums with New York City Blues.
I says I've been searching all night long, trying to find that woman of mine. Yes, I've been searching all night long, trying to find that woman of mine. Yes, I've been from the east side to west side. People I can't hardly keep from crying. I said I've been stumbling in and out of traffic. People, the sidewalk ain't big enough for me. Yes, I've been stumbling in and out of traffic. The sidewalk ain't big enough for me. Yes, you know I talk to the guardian angel. I says, angels, please pray for me. I walk from Wall Street to Harlem. I can't find me no good news. The Big Apple's done gone rotten. I got them New York City blues, but I got to keep on walking, trying to find that woman of mine. People, you know I'm feeling so bad. I can't hardly keep from crying. Yeah, I got to find Central Park. I even went down in Times Square. I even went down in the village, y'all. Can't find my woman nowhere. I got to keep on walking. Lord, I got holes in my shoes. Well, you know I can't find my baby. People, I got them New York City blues. Yeah, I got the blues, y'all. Got to find my woman. Yeah, I got to find her, y'all. Come here, baby.
Another important artist on the New York blues scene was first-generation blues and Hall of Fame legend Miss Victoria Spivey, who was born in Texas in 1906 and passed away in 1976. Miss Spivey was known as the Queen among all who knew her. In the 1920s and 30s, Miss Spivey recorded with many other early blues legends such as Mr. Blind Lemon Jefferson and New Orleans jazz greats Mr. Louis Armstrong and Mr. King Oliver. Miss Spivey also acted and performed in several Hollywood musicals in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. In 1961, Miss Spivey launched her recording company, Spivey Records, in Brooklyn, and produced and recorded with a number of great blues artists, including Mississippi Wallace, Mr. Roosevelt Sykes, and Mr. Big Joe Williams. Miss Spivey and Spivey Records was the first to record Mr. Bob Dylan's vocals and harmonica when Bob was 21 years old. Now we'll play a few recordings from Miss Victoria Spivey's Spivey Records. First is a legendary blues pianist, Mr. Otis Spann, who was born into a musical family sometime between 1924 and 1930 in Mississippi and passed away in 1970. Mr. Spann headed to Chicago while still in his teens and played in the Muddy Waters Band from 1952 until 1968, while also performing and recording as a soloist. Here, Mr. Otis Spann lends his vocals and piano as he joins in a duet with Miss Victoria Spivey. They are accompanied by Mr. Johnny Young on mandolin, Mr. Luther Georgia Boy Snake Johnson, and Mr. Peter Malik on guitars, along with Mr. S.P. Leary on drums, with Mr. Spann's I'm a Bad Boy.
Come on, baby.
Me sing. Yeah. I lost my voice running around in the village. Yeah, Chicago, Tighter.
You did the blue last night. I can't to Johnny Young.
Now, from that same recording session is the gentleman many celebrate as the premier blues mandolin artist, Mr. Johnny Young, who was born in Mississippi in 1917 and passed away in 1974. Mr. Young's choice of electric mandolin was unique in post-World War II blues music. Here, Mr. Johnny Young's vocals and mandolin are joined by Mr. Otis Spann on piano and Mr. S.P. Leary's drums on Mr. Young's number 12 and number 10 train.
Number 12's at the station, and number 10 is on the road. Number 12 at the station, and number 10 train on the road. I'm all alone, darling, wondering which way did you ever go? Doesn't mean no train that carried my baby away. Doesn't mean no train that carried my baby away. Just tell me one in, will you come back home someday? All right, Otis. Sometime I wonder, why didn't you write to me? Sometime I wonder, baby, why didn't you write to me? If I'd have been a bad fellow, what my intent good to me? Every morning, baby, I could hear that whistle blow. Deep down in my heart, I wonder, do you love me anymore?
Now, from another recording session made at Brooklyn's Spivey Records with major blues legend, Blues Hall of Famer, composer, producer, singer, and bass player, Mr. William James Willie Dixon. Mr. Dixon was born in Mississippi in 1915 and passed away in 1992. Along with Mr. Muddy Waters and Mr. Howlin' Wolf, these three men were the major artists involved in the creation and proliferation of the Chicago blues sound. Mr. Dixon was an excellent acoustic bass player who produced and backed recordings by artists such as Mr. Muddy Waters, Mr. Chuck Berry, Mr. Howlin' Wolf, and Little Walter. In addition, Mr. Willie Dixon wrote some of the premier blues songs of all time, including I Just Want to Make Love to You, Backdoor Man, Spoonful, Wang Dang Doodle, Hoochie Coochie Man, Mannish Boy, and My Babe, along with many others. Mr. Dixon was a key figure in the creation of the American Folk Blues Festivals, which took groups of American blues artists to Europe for the first time to perform their organized live blues caravan shows throughout Europe. These annual tours, starting in 1962, helped introduce the blues internationally and were instrumental in the British rock and blues invasion of the mid-1960s. On this next recording, Miss Spivey introduces Mr. Willie Dixon and his string bass, accompanied by his Chicago Blues Band members, Mr. Carey Bell on blues harp, Mr. Buster Benton on guitar, Mr. Lafayette Leake on piano, and Professor King on drums with Mr. Dixon's composition, Maestro.
Willie Dixon, sliding maestro. Slide on, baby, let her go.
From that same recording session, this next song features Blues Hall of Fame member and blues harp legend Mr. Carey Bell, who was born in Mississippi in 1936 and passed away in 2007. Carey Bell started playing harp when he was 5 or 6, and he was good enough by the age of 13 to join his godfather and blues piano great Mr. Lovey Lee's blues band. In 1956, Mr. Bell moved to Chicago and started his legendary Chicago blues harp career. Here now is Mr. Carey Bell with his vocals and blues harp, along with Mr. Willie Dixon on string bass, Mr. Buster Benton on guitar, Mr. Lafayette Leake on piano, and Professor King on drums with the blues classic When the Evening Sun Goes Down.
Lord, I hate to see that evening sun go down. Lord, I hate to see that evening sun go down. Think about my baby, and I know she can't be found. It's a lonesome feeling when you all by yourself. When you all by yourself, you can't get the one that you're loving. You got the news, somebody else.
next artist is my late friend and legendary blues harp artist, keyboardist, and guitarist, Mr. Paul Oscher, who was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1950 and unfortunately passed away of COVID in April 2021. As a 17-year-old kid from Brooklyn in 1967, Paul was auditioned and hired by major blues legend Mr. Muddy Waters to play blues harp in the #1 blues band in the world, the Muddy Waters Band. After joining, Paul moved into Muddy's basement where he shared space with piano legend Mr. Otis Spann. Paul played with the Muddy Waters Band from 1967 until 1972. Then, after leaving the Muddy Waters Band, Paul moved back to Brooklyn into an apartment a couple of blocks from Miss Victoria Spivey and undertook his own solo career playing gigs around New York and the East Coast under the stage name Brooklyn Slim. In early July 1975, Paul and his band, the Chicago Breakdown Blues Band, recorded with Spivey Records. Here now is Mr. Paul Oscher on keyboard, Mr. Frank Pedini on guitar, Mr. John Acerno on bass, and Miss Ola Dixon on drums with Paul Oscher's Rhythm Rockin'. Folks, as we wrap up this show, here again is Mr. Paul Oscher, now with his great blues harp and accompanied by Mr. John Wolfe on guitar, Mr. John Acerno on bass, and Miss Ola Dixon on drums with Mr. Oscher's Shades of Blue. And thank you all for listening.